Hello, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Guitaristas. Something a little bit different this week because I haven't been able to make a new film, like I normally do, all that waffling and unscrewing and stuff, because I've been busy. As I mentioned, I've been away filming a show for Sky Television up in Manchester, and it's Thursday now and I've just got back, and normally I post a YouTube film on Friday, so there's not time. So I did say I probably weren't going to be here, but I didn't really want to leave you hanging. I feel a bit guilty because I know some of you out there, you like it. So I thought, well, what can I do? What can I do that's pretty easy? And I'm not really a vlogger type, really. It doesn't really feel like me. So it's got to be guitar based, all that stuff that people do about how they feel and all that. It's not really me. So I thought, well, what can I do? I know, I'll have a look at the archives and see if there's a film that I made way back when I started this channel that maybe you probably haven't seen, because not so many people watched it back then. So I had a look, and lo and behold, I came across, I think, something perfect. Rolls on from last week. Last week I reviewed this, didn't I? The East Coast T1, and that film's been really popular. So thanks to all of you that have watched that and commented and stuff. We love a cheap guitar, didn't we? Someone just pointed out that this, £99, that includes 20% VAT. Yeah. We love a bargain, don't we? And last week I mentioned, back when I was a teenager, when I started playing the guitar, how I'd seen the Quo, and all I could afford was this Zenta Telecaster. These Japanese things that they made back in the late 60s and 70s. So, do you know what? I managed to find a review that I did of that Zenta Telecaster about 3 years ago when I started this channel. So, not many of you watched it. So, I'm going to show it to you. And even if you did watch it, it'd probably be interesting to have a look and see how things have evolved in the last 3 years. The style, it's changed a little bit, not a huge amount. The set's changed a little bit. I'm even more scruffy back then than I am now, believe it or not. But you could see the seeds of what I was doing. That was right back early, before I even knew I was going to carry on doing the channel. So have a look at this. It's still about 10 minutes longer than most people's YouTube films, even back then. So, you can still timestamps if you want to skip forward. But have a look, have a listen, and this is my review of the Zenta, and I've compared it to the Squier Bullet, in fact, and I've played a little bit of the Quo. Call back to last week. So there you go. Have a look at this. This is all I can do this week. The quality isn't, incidentally, quite so good because for some reason back then I didn't even save the 4K masters. So this is a low res download off of YouTube. So anyway, watch it. Let me know what you think. I'll be back. Yeah, I'll be back after this and we'll catch up again. All right. Better than nothing, I think. Let me know what you think. See you in a minute. Back now, and we are very fond of saying how rubbish the guitars were that we had to learn on back then. It is a Teisco. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's like Tesco's, but it's got an I in it. And on to the interesting bits here, the bridge and the tailpiece. So, not really sure what they were thinking here. I started learning the electric guitar in the 1970s. Inspired by the glam rock stars of the day, Mark Bolan, Dave Hill from Slade, and Mick Ronson from Bowie, and probably Mott the Hoople at that time. Around about 1974, I went to my first concert and I saw Status Quo live at the Kersal Ballroom in Southend-on-Sea. And from that moment on, I knew that I needed a Fender Telecaster. Obviously, being a young learner at that time, a Fender Telecaster was absolutely out of the question. So I did what most people do, got hold of a cheap copy, which was one of these. Not the actual guitar, because that's long gone, but I managed to find this on eBay. It's exactly the same. It is a Taisco. Taisco, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's like Tesco's, but it's got an I in it. It's a Japanese-made Taisco Zenta branded Telecaster copy. Look at that. So we look back now and we are very fond of saying how rubbish the guitars were that we had to learn on back then. And I wondered, you know what, is that true? Is that actually true? Were they really rubbish? Were they? Were they rubbish? I mean, you know, look at that. Looks nice. From you know, my 14-year-old self picking this up, I was Rick Parfitt, man. It was all right. The thing is, if they were rubbish, you wouldn't have known. You didn't know any different. There was nobody to tell you that your guitar was rubbish and there was a better option for you. So we didn't know. So we played these things until we got bored with them, or, you know, we lost them, or a better guitar came along. And so let's have a look and see what it was really like, shall we? It's kind of, it looks sort of loosely based on Telecaster. I've actually measured, and the scale length, which between the nut and the bridge is 24 3/4 inches, which is the same scale length as a Gibson. Fender Telecaster scale length is 25.5 inches, so that's an anomaly. I'm just looking at this here. It's actually got a 0 fret at the top of the nut, which is interesting, and a bound fingerboard, which is pretty cool, I think. The neck feels okay. I mean, it's kind of, you know, it's a nice kind of a medium. It's got a chunk. It's got the right Telecaster shape on the headstock. A weird string tree that bolts all the way through. To these open-backed tuners, which I don't think they're very fantastic, but they're getting on a bit now, so we'll have to see. Body's quite thin, bolt and neck, same as the Telecaster. It's got a little tummy groove there, which is interesting. It's got a sort of a bit of a toy-like look to it, although it looks quite small. It's not really. And on to the interesting bits here, the bridge and the tailpiece. So, not really sure what they were thinking here. It's got this whammy bar of sorts. Okay, so this bridge is interesting. It's based on the Gretsch design, which they call the space control. So you can adjust these, the distance between the strings, which is quite an innovation. What unfortunately you can't do with this is adjust the intonation, because they've screwed it directly to the body. The original Gretsch one was sitting on a wooden bridge that you could move backwards and forwards to help intonate the strings. So there's no intonation adjustment on this at all. So let's be interested to see what that means in the real world. So plug it in. Right, so these tunes are a bit wobbly, actually. Let's be gentle with them. Okay, so open E and then 12th fret. As you can see, it's very sharp. So what you'd have to do to correct the intonation is lengthen the string, and that makes an adjustment and bring it in. So, but you can't do that on this because it's fixed, so no adjustment. Same with the high E. Yeah, again, it's quite sharp. Not unusual to find that with a guitar, but you know, you can adjust it. If we compare, for instance, I wouldn't be surprised if because I haven't adjusted the intonation on this Squier since I've had it on purpose. I obviously left it as stock. Let's try. Okay, that's actually bang on, which I'm quite surprised about. So open, look. Yeah, it's pretty good actually. Squier Bullet intonation out of the box, bang on. Oh, well done, guys. That came from Guitar, so I'm sure that they didn't touch it at the shop. They shipped too many guitars out to be fiddling around like that, surely. Maybe they did. Well done. Anyway, 1971. B, very sharp. G, very sharp. D, they're all sharp. So basically, you'd need an intonation fix. Anyway, so nil point for that. Okay, let's just have a quick listen. Let's take some noises off. What I have noticed about the Zenta is it's got a really nice sound. Slightly microphonic, I think, these pickups. Volume control works well. Tone control, let's get that out of the way. Very effective at all. Well, that neck pickup's great. Sorry. I mean, bridge, really. That's got that telly twang, isn't it? The neck, though, is great. Tuning stability is not great. Just comparing that to the Squier. Sorry, mind your ears. Nice and bright still. You'd spend a lot of time tuning this guitar up. I think it's safe to say that these tuners are past their sell-by date now and probably weren't exactly great in the first place. So let's see what they sound like together. So the Squier is definitely a more precision instrument. It feels more solid. It's more robust. The tolerances are tighter. Although the parts were actually designed in the 50s, so it's not really an excuse for the Zenta. These are all traditional Telecaster parts, while the Zenta's kind of a mishmash of ideas that I guess the Japanese put together in the late 1960s, or whenever it was they came up with these designs. They were designed to be cheap guitars, catalogue guitars. I think, you know, big department stores sold these things, mail order sold them. And this particular one, I think they branded it with different things. There was a version by Jedson, I think. And although those guitars of that time, Columbus, Jedson, Zenta, I think they might have been interchangeable. They were made by this massive Teisco factory. And, you know, it works, but there's a problem with playing high up the neck because things just won't be in tune. If you, for instance, the opening on this film, we played the famous Quo track Caroline, which starts on a bar called an F barcode up here. Sounds a little bit nasty on this. Where an open E there, if you play that on the 12th fret, it's out of tune. You can't do anything about that. So, you know, as a 14-year-old, I'm not sure if I did actually play beyond the 5th fret anyway, and if I didn't, it's a good job really, because it would have sounded dreadful. So yeah, the guitars back then, they probably were a little bit rubbish, and we're better off leaving them in the past. If you've enjoyed this film, please click subscribe and like it, and you'll encourage us to do more of this nonsense. Thanks a lot. There you go. It was all right, wasn't it? I was quite pleased, really, looking at it back. I thought, well, I wasn't rubbish, was I? Was I? I think my playing might have evolved a little bit since then, but you know, I was actually still playing the same tunes that I was playing last week on the East Coast, wasn't I? But there you go. Can't beat a bit of Quo. Can't beat an early Japanese knockoff guitar. That guitar, in fact, I sold that in January when I had the big cull, and that's up in Newcastle, being loved and actually being played. My mate Trev up there, he's the new owner of that, and apparently he's getting some wicked tones out of that plugged into his missus's air fryer. So yeah, little private joke for me and Trev there. Cheers, mate. There you go. That was the Zenta. That was what I did this week because I wasn't able to do anything better, really. So hopefully it's better than nothing. And I'm still working on this TV show. So next week I'm in London all week editing, and probably the week after as well. So whether or not I will be able to do anything on YouTube is looking iffy. There will be stuff over on my TV channel. There's the address. If you haven't signed up, please go and do that, because that supports everything I do on YouTube. And if I get enough subscribers there, I won't have to go away and do other things that pay proper money, okay? TV channel, that's the TV channel. I'm going to try and do a little vlog style thing there with a little bit more information on what I'm working on and stuff, and some stuff maybe when I'm in London. Stuff that doesn't really work on YouTube for me. So, you know, sign up, check it out. 30 days free. There's always extra content on there anyway when I'm not on the YouTube. You know it makes sense. There you go. That's it. Thanks for dropping in, and I'll see you next time. Yeah, maybe next week, maybe not. Next time, wherever that is. And you know I appreciate you watching. Yeah, that's it. I'm going. See ya. Cheers.